Dear friends, welcome to the channel, The Eastern Front. Anatoly Fedorovich Kravtsev, a man not the most famous in the domestic tank industry, but he did a lot. To understand how high the contribution of Anatoly Fedorovich is, it's enough to say that this person is the author of the idea of the self-pulling log in its modern form, the very subject without which it has long been difficult to imagine domestic tanks. The list of inventions and machines created by this extraordinary man and inventor is huge. These are the cyclone and multi-cyclone air filters, which have become the best means of air purification on domestic tanks of the war period. These are K-61 and a truck self-propelled ferry floating special machine, the MTU-12 bridge laying machine, and another of other models that have become serial. Kravtsev's activity is so extensive that it can easily be collected into a whole monograph. Many of the developments that were created by Kravtsev before the war became serial and were used already during the Great Patriotic War. He was also engaged in flamethrowers, including tank ones. From August 1941, Kravtsev was appointed assistant chief of the Stalingrad Tank School. In his new position, he didn't stop his inventive activity. It was during this period that he developed the device that will be discussed in this video. During the war, Kravtsev dealt with the issue of creating shelters for infantry accompanying tanks. The problem was extremely urgent almost from the very beginning of use of tanks. Tanks were originally created as a means of escorting infantry, but more often there was a situation when an infantry lay under enemy fire and tanks remained one-on-one with the enemy. In such conditions, both infantry and tanks suffered losses. For this reason, even in the interwar period, various ideas were being worked out on how to protect the infantry. Amphibious trailers and special boxes were developed that protected the tank landing. However, all these tools were not widely used because they had various disadvantages. Kravtsev was also engaged in armored sledges, but this idea also didn't find wide application. Therefore, it was decided to approach the issue from the other side. In 1943, Kravtsev developed a device that received the designation trench digger for fragments of trenches and communication passages. A tank trencher, abbreviated TTK. The main idea of the TTK was to create trenches directly during the attack of tanks on the enemy positions. The most problematic from the point of view of infantry, the attack area was the last few hundred meters in front of the enemy positions. It was here that the attacking infantry concentrated fire, and it was forced to lie down, lagging behind the tanks. What's worse, there was often nowhere to lie down. Therefore, Kravtsev proposed a design that could make trenches right during the attack. By itself, the idea of a trencher was not new. Similar devices were developed before the war. They were engaged in a number of countries, including Germany. However, such devices usually didn't go beyond the scope of experiments. In addition, as a rule, the special engineering machines were engaged in digging trenches. Kravtsev decided to make his design the simplest from the point of view of operation. This meant that the TTK didn't require a special engineering machine to be used. Initially, the medium tank T-34 or heavy tank KV was supposed to be the carrier of the trencher, but because a new heavy tank IS-2 was launched into the series, it was chosen as the base for the TTK tests, which took place in the summer of 1944. The TTK concept itself was simple and unpretentious. Kravtsev created a plow that was attached to the lower stern sheet of the tank. Engagement took place due to the standard two hooks of the tank, which simplified the installation of the TTK. This was one of the advantages of Kravtsev developments, a minimal change in the design of the base machine. In the marching position, the trencher was mounted on a special ski and transported to the place of use. During the test, IS-2 drove the TTK to the distance of about a kilometer along a dirt road, going at a speed of 13 km per hour. He behaved steadily. The TTK overcame another 300 meters of virgin land in a marching position, already without a ski, while especially driving through a trench. The trencher successfully overcame the obstacle. Also, tests showed that on virgin land, the turning radius of the S-2 with the trencher digger hooked to it was 10 meters. The TTK tests were conducted on 17–18 July 1944 at the shooting range in Kubinka. During the direct test for digging trenches, the TTK dug 4 types of trenches. The simplest is a straight trench 180 meters long. Its net depth was 60 centimeters. At the same time, the tank was moving in the first gear at a speed of about 3 km per hour. Approximately the same results were obtained in the manufacture of a straight trench with a twist. There were also 2 types of snake trenches, 80 and 50 meters long. A straight trench with a twist was then passed for the second time. The net depth increased to 80 centimeters. This was recognized as sufficient to overcome the terrain by infantry in a bent position. The trench made by a snake was also deepened. The net depth was less than 75 centimeters. When excavating the ground, the depth of the first type of trench reached for 105 centimeters, and the second type, snake, 115 centimeters. Based on the results of the test, the commission, which included Kravtsov himself, concluded that the TTK fully ensures the digging of trenches that allow infantry to follow tanks. The final decision was that Kravtsov's brainchild was recognized as suitable for the task set. After eliminating the identified shortcomings, it was recommended to make a trial batch of TTK. So, an improved trench digger was born in May 1948. It was adopted by the Soviet Army. Dear friends, that's all for today. It was Tim and the Eastern Front channel. And as usual, I wish you peace and health. See you.